In the very fabric of our shared history lies a thread that has been nearly forgotten, a thread that speaks of civilizations so ancient, their wisdom echoes in the deepest corners of our collective memory. These civilizations, like the ancient Egyptians, the Atlanteans, and the Sumerians, have left us with cryptic clues, symbols, and teachings that transcend time and space. They were not merely advanced in technology, but were also deeply in tune with the spiritual realms, understanding forces beyond the physical world that most modern societies have long since lost touch with. What if the stories of these forgotten cultures were not just myths but teachings meant to guide us back to a more profound understanding of who we truly are? What if the ancient texts and monuments that have survived for millennia are not relics of a bygone era, but rather keys to unlocking the door to a higher consciousness? This is the essence of our journey today, to revisit the forgotten knowledge of ancient civilizations and explore the spiritual teachings that lie buried within their history. The ancient Egyptians, for example, understood the interconnectedness of the material and spiritual worlds in ways that are nearly incomprehensible today. Their belief in the afterlife, their rituals surrounding death, and their architecture, particularly the Great Pyramids, speak of a profound knowledge of cosmic laws and divine order. But what were they truly trying to teach us? Was their knowledge a gift from the stars, as some have speculated, or was it a natural understanding of the energies that flow through the universe, accessible to all? Similarly, the lost civilization of Atlantis has long been the subject of mystery and fascination. Plato's accounts of this advanced society, destroyed by a cataclysmic event, suggest that Atlantis was not only technologically advanced but also spiritually enlightened. The Atlanteans, according to these texts, were in tune with the Earth's energies and the cosmos, mastering practices that allowed them to harness powers beyond our current understanding. The fall of Atlantis serves as a warning, a reminder that wisdom, when misused or abandoned, can lead to destruction. But perhaps the most intriguing of these forgotten civilizations is the one that many of us know the least about, the Sumerians. Their ancient texts, like the Epic of Gilgamesh, contain stories of gods and heroes, but they also reveal a deep understanding of the human soul's journey. The Sumerians spoke of the Anunnaki, deities that some believe came from the stars to impart knowledge to humankind. These teachings were not merely about survival or the advancement of civilization but about the very nature of existence and the soul's connection to the divine. What can we, in our modern age, learn from these long-lost cultures? How can we apply the wisdom they left behind to our own lives, especially as we stand on the precipice of a new era of spiritual awakening? The spiritual teachings of ancient civilizations were not confined to rituals or religious dogma. They were rooted in a deep, intuitive understanding of the universe, the self, and the divine. They taught us to look beyond the surface of reality and to understand the unseen forces that govern our lives. It is through the study of these forgotten teachings that we begin to reconnect with the essence of who we truly are, beings of light and consciousness, capable of transcending the limitations of the physical world and accessing higher realms of understanding. We are not separate from the divine. We are expressions of it. And it is only by embracing the wisdom of these ancient cultures that we can unlock the full potential of our being. As we journey through this exploration, we will uncover the spiritual practices, symbols, and philosophies of these ancient civilizations. From the sacred geometry of the pyramids to the cosmic knowledge of Atlantis and the mystical wisdom of the Sumerians, each civilization offers a piece of the puzzle. But the most important lesson they offer is this: the true nature of reality is far greater than what we perceive with our senses. We are part of an infinite, interconnected web of existence, and the key to unlocking our highest potential lies in understanding our place within it. The exploration of forgotten ancient civilizations brings us face to face with core themes and concepts that transcend the boundaries of time and space. These civilizations, often shrouded in mystery, were not merely concerned with physical survival but with the spiritual essence of existence. They understood the delicate balance between the material and the immaterial, between the known and the unknown. In this section, we will unravel the core teachings of these civilizations, exploring concepts such as the interconnectedness of all things, the nature of the divine, and the spiritual purpose of humanity. One of the most profound themes found in ancient civilizations is the idea of interconnectedness. The Egyptians, for example, taught that all of existence is connected by the divine force they called Ma'at, a principle of cosmic balance and truth. This concept of balance extended beyond the physical world to the spiritual realms. The Egyptians believed that the soul's journey was one of alignment with this cosmic order, and that to live a righteous life meant to live in harmony with the divine laws of the universe. The pyramids themselves, with their precise alignment to the stars, were designed as portals to connect the physical world with the spiritual realms, emphasizing the importance of balance in both realms. In a similar vein, the Atlanteans were said to have a profound understanding of the forces that bind the universe together. According to Plato's accounts, Atlantis was not only a hub of technological innovation but a place where the spiritual and material worlds existed in perfect harmony. The Atlanteans are believed to have harnessed the power of sacred geometry and energy fields to create a civilization that was in tune with the Earth's natural vibrations. Their advanced knowledge of energy flow, combined with a deep understanding of human consciousness, allowed them to tap into abilities that are considered mystical by today's standards. They believed that true power came not from domination or control, but from aligning oneself with the natural rhythms of the cosmos. The fall of Atlantis, often attributed to the misuse of this knowledge, serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of losing balance and harmony in both our personal and collective lives. The Sumerians, with their ancient texts and mythologies, brought forward another core theme, the relationship between humanity and the divine. Their pantheon of gods, including the Anunnaki, represented different aspects of creation and the cosmos. The Anunnaki were said to have descended from the heavens, bringing with them knowledge of agriculture, writing, and mathematics. But their teachings were not just about material advancements, they also imparted wisdom about the soul's journey and its connection to the divine. The Sumerians believed that humanity's purpose was to serve the gods, not in a subjugated sense, but in a way that acknowledged the sacred nature of existence. This service was seen as a spiritual duty, one that required humans to live in accordance with divine will and cosmic laws. A key concept shared across these ancient civilizations is the idea of spiritual awakening. While this term may seem modern, its roots run deep in the ancient world. The Egyptians, in their mystical teachings, spoke of the journey of the soul as one of continual awakening. Through rituals, initiations, and meditation, individuals could transcend the limitations of the material world and align themselves with the higher realms of existence. This awakening was seen as a process of remembering the divine spark within, of reconnecting with the source from which all life emanates. The goal was not to escape the physical world but to understand its deeper, spiritual meaning. The concept of spiritual awakening was also central to the Atlantean worldview. The Atlanteans are believed to have practiced various forms of meditation, energy work, and rituals to elevate their consciousness. These practices were designed to help individuals tap into their inner power and wisdom, allowing them to access higher planes of existence. The fall of Atlantis, according to some interpretations, occurred when the people lost sight of this deeper purpose and began to misuse their spiritual knowledge for personal gain. The lesson here is clear: true spiritual power is not about control over others, but about mastery over oneself and alignment with the universal laws. For the Sumerians, spiritual awakening was tied to the concept of divine order. They believed that the universe was governed by a set of divine principles that extended beyond the material world. These principles were embodied in the gods, who represented different aspects of creation. By aligning oneself with these divine principles, individuals could achieve a state of spiritual harmony and balance. This, in turn, would lead to a deeper understanding of one's place in the cosmos and the true purpose of life. At the heart of all these civilizations lies the recognition that spiritual knowledge is not merely intellectual but experiential. It is something that must be lived, embodied, and practiced. The teachings of these ancient cultures were not designed to be abstract or theoretical, but to guide individuals toward a direct, personal experience of the divine. Whether through rituals, meditation, or contemplation of sacred texts, these teachings were meant to foster a deep, transformative connection with the cosmos. The core message of these civilizations is clear. True spiritual awakening comes not from external achievements or material success, but from an inner journey of self-discovery and alignment with the divine. As we delve deeper into the spiritual teachings of these forgotten civilizations, we begin to see a pattern emerge, a pattern of wisdom that transcends culture, time, and space. These civilizations understood that the key to spiritual awakening lies in understanding our relationship with the cosmos and the divine forces that shape our existence. The teachings they left behind offer a blueprint for awakening, one that requires us to look beyond the surface of reality and to embrace the mysteries of the universe. It is through this process of awakening that we can reconnect with our true essence and begin to live in alignment with the divine order. As we reflect on the forgotten civilizations that once graced the earth, civilizations like the Egyptians, the Sumerians, the Atlanteans, and others, we might find ourselves drawn to their stories not merely as fascinating relics of the past, but as profound teachings for the present. These ancient spiritual teachings were not designed to remain locked in the confines of history but were meant to be lived, embodied, and integrated into the fabric of everyday life. The real question, then, becomes, how can we take the wisdom of these ancient civilizations and apply it to our modern world, a world that seems so far removed from the spiritual practices of our ancestors? The first step in integrating these teachings is to acknowledge the connection between the spiritual and the material. In ancient times, the sacred and the mundane were not seen as separate entities. Everything, from the construction of sacred temples to the act of farming, was considered part of a larger spiritual path. The Egyptians, for example, viewed their daily lives as rituals that were interwoven with cosmic forces. The precision of their pyramid building was not just a matter of architecture but of aligning their physical world with the spiritual realms. In this sense, their actions in the physical realm were expressions of their spiritual beliefs. So, how can we integrate this understanding into our lives today? It begins with shifting our perception of the mundane. Every action, no matter how seemingly trivial, can be seen as an opportunity to reconnect with the sacred. Whether we are engaging in our work, interacting with others, or simply enjoying a moment of solitude, we have the power to elevate these moments by bringing conscious awareness to them. Mindfulness, a practice that has gained much attention in recent years, is a modern form of this ancient wisdom. By being present in each moment, we can transform the ordinary into the extraordinary, seeing the divine in everything we do. Another way to bring the wisdom of these ancient civilizations into our lives is through the practice of ritual and symbolism. Rituals were central to the spiritual practices of ancient cultures. In ancient Egypt, for example, rituals were performed daily to honor the gods and maintain cosmic balance. These rituals were not just acts of worship but were also believed to have a profound effect on the inner state of the practitioner. Today, many of us have lost touch with ritual as a spiritual practice, yet its power remains. Rituals provide a structure that allows us to connect with the sacred in a tangible way. These rituals don't need to be grand or elaborate. They can be as simple as lighting a candle in meditation, performing a daily affirmation, or offering a moment of gratitude before meals. The key is in the intention behind the action. A small act performed with a deep sense of reverence can be just as powerful as a grand ceremony. The concept of balance, which is found in nearly every ancient civilization, is another crucial principle that we can integrate into our lives. The ancient Egyptians, for example, emphasized the importance of Ma'at, the goddess of truth, balance, and order. Ma'at represented the cosmic order that kept the universe in harmony, and to live in alignment with Ma'at was to live in harmony with the natural laws of the universe. In a modern context, balance can be understood as the need to harmonize the different aspects of our lives, our work, relationships, physical health, and spiritual practice. This balance is not just about managing time effectively, it is about creating an inner alignment, a deep sense of peace that permeates all aspects of life. It's about recognizing that every aspect of our being, our thoughts, actions, and emotions, needs to be in equilibrium for us to achieve spiritual growth. Yet, in our fast-paced, modern world, it can be easy to forget the deeper significance of the cycles of nature, the rhythms that guided ancient civilizations. The Egyptians, Sumerians, and others lived in direct relationship with the land, the seasons, and the stars. Their spirituality was rooted in the natural world. The rising and setting of the sun, the changing of the seasons, and the movements of the stars were not merely observed, they were felt deeply, understood as sacred cycles that mirrored the cycles within the human soul. To integrate this into our lives, we need to reawaken our connection to nature. We must remember that we, too, are part of the natural world, and we are influenced by the rhythms of the earth. This might mean spending more time outdoors, aligning our activities with the cycles of the moon, or practicing seasonal rituals that honor the changes in nature. In doing so, we reconnect with the wisdom of the ancients and rediscover the natural flow of life. Furthermore, the concept of spiritual ascension, central to many ancient teachings, offers profound guidance for modern spiritual seekers. The ancient Egyptians, in particular, believed that life was a journey of ascending through various planes of existence, ultimately returning to the divine source. This process was mirrored in the journey of the soul through the afterlife, which was symbolized by the Great Pyramid. Today, spiritual ascension can be understood as the process of raising our consciousness, letting go of the ego, and transcending the limitations of the material world. It is about awakening to our higher self, the divine spark within, and living in alignment with our true nature. Spiritual ascension is not a mystical concept reserved for a select few, it is a path available to all who seek it. Through meditation, self-reflection, and conscious living, we can raise our vibration and align ourselves with higher frequencies of consciousness. This ascension is not just about escaping the physical world, but about transcending the limitations of the ego and embracing a state of inner peace, compassion, and wisdom. It is about realizing that we are not separate from the divine but are one with it. The journey to ascension is the journey back to our true selves. Finally, the teachings of ancient civilizations remind us that we are stewards of the earth, not its masters. The Egyptians, in their reverence for the natural world, understood that true wisdom came not from domination but from living in harmony with the planet. Today, as we face environmental crises and the degradation of the planet, these teachings are more relevant than ever. To live in accordance with ancient wisdom, we must embrace sustainability, respect for all living beings, and a deep commitment to preserving the earth for future generations. This is a call to action, not just for spiritual growth but for global transformation, a call to remember our role as caretakers of this sacred planet. As we conclude this exploration of the forgotten ancient civilizations and their profound spiritual teachings, we find ourselves standing at the threshold of a great awakening, one that bridges the wisdom of the past with the challenges of the present. The ancient civilizations, though lost to time, continue to offer us invaluable insights into the nature of existence, the divine, and our place within the cosmos. In their sacred texts, monuments, and rituals, they left behind a legacy of knowledge that, if understood and integrated, has the power to transform not only our individual lives but the collective trajectory of humanity. It is crucial to recognize that the spiritual teachings of these civilizations were never meant to be relics confined to museums or forgotten in the annals of history. They were meant to be lived, embodied, and carried forward into the present day. In every sacred practice, in every ritual performed, there was a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of all things, between the human spirit, the natural world, and the divine realms. These teachings were about more than just belief, they were about living in harmony with the cosmic order, aligning the physical and spiritual worlds, and recognizing the divinity within all aspects of life. The key to unlocking this wisdom lies in the realization that we are not separate from these ancient teachings. We, too, are part of the same cosmic fabric that wove the lives of the Egyptians, the Atlanteans, the Sumerians, and the other great civilizations of antiquity. The same divine intelligence that guided their spiritual practices is present within us. We are the living vessels of that ancient wisdom, and it is our task to awaken to it once again. This is not a passive awakening, it is an active, transformative journey that requires us to reconnect with the deeper truths of our own existence and live in accordance with those truths. In order to integrate these teachings, we must first make a commitment to self-awareness. It begins with looking inward, taking the time to understand the deeper aspects of our own consciousness. What are the limiting beliefs we carry? What patterns from the past continue to shape our present experiences? Like the ancient Egyptians who practiced deep introspection and sought to align their hearts with Ma'at, we too must cultivate an awareness of our thoughts, emotions, and actions, bringing them into harmony with our higher purpose. This requires a willingness to engage in self-reflection, meditation, and conscious living. But self-awareness is just the beginning. To truly integrate the teachings of these civilizations, we must also develop a sacred relationship with the earth. In the past, ancient civilizations understood that humanity was not above nature, but part of it. The earth was not seen as a resource to be exploited but as a living, breathing entity to be honored and revered. Today, in the face of environmental degradation and the exploitation of our planet, it is imperative that we reconnect with the earth in the same sacred way. This means not only taking action to protect the environment but also cultivating a deeper appreciation for the natural world in our daily lives. Whether through spending more time in nature, adopting sustainable practices, or engaging in rituals that honor the earth, we can begin to heal the wounds of separation that have plagued humanity for so long. At the heart of these ancient teachings lies the truth of spiritual ascension, the understanding that we are not merely physical beings, but spiritual ones, on a journey of self-realization and transformation. The ultimate goal is to return to the divine source, to awaken to our higher selves, and to live in alignment with our highest potential. This path of ascension is not a linear journey but a cyclical one, much like the rhythms of the earth and the cosmos. It is a path that requires patience, discipline, and a deep commitment to personal and spiritual growth. As we ascend, we shed the layers of ego, fear, and limitation, and begin to embody the wisdom and love that reside within us all. The ancient teachings also remind us of the importance of community and shared purpose. In many ancient civilizations, spiritual practices were not individual pursuits but collective ones. Communities gathered together to perform rituals, celebrate the cycles of life, and support one another in their spiritual journeys. Today, in our often fragmented and individualistic society, we can take a page from this ancient wisdom by fostering a sense of community, shared purpose, and collective healing. Whether through spiritual circles, meditation groups, or collective action for social and environmental change, we can come together as a community to support one another in our shared journey of awakening. As we integrate these teachings into our lives, it is important to remember that this is not a task to be done alone. We are not isolated beings, but interconnected with one another, with the earth, and with the divine. In embracing the wisdom of the forgotten civilizations, we are not simply resurrecting the past, we are bringing it into the present, where it can serve as a powerful catalyst for personal transformation and collective healing. Now, the question remains, what will you do with this knowledge? The teachings of these ancient civilizations are not meant to be mere ideas to ponder, but practices to live by. Will you choose to live consciously, aligning your actions with the cosmic order? Will you honor the earth as sacred, and take steps to protect her for future generations? Will you embark on the path of spiritual ascension, shedding the layers of ego and embracing your divine essence? The call to action is clear, it is time to remember who we are. We are the heirs of these great civilizations, the torchbearers of their wisdom. As we walk this path of spiritual awakening, let us carry the light of their teachings within us, allowing it to guide us toward a future of peace, harmony, and transformation. The time has come to reclaim our place within the sacred dance of the cosmos and to awaken to the divine potential that resides within each of us.